Hey, folks, Stephanie, thanks for joining me.
Hey, hon.
Hey, so listen, folks, member meetings tomorrow night and Thursday. So tomorrow we've got the West kind of meeting. Of course, anybody from East is, we're happy to have you join us because we're talking a lot about what's going on in Alberta, British Columbia. Of course, then Thursday we head east to Ontario, and lots of members from the West have a tendency to go east. So listen, at the end of the day, it's all virtual. So however you want to show up, but we got a great end of year meetings set up. We got George Dube talking about taxes and prepping taxes. And as much as that doesn't necessarily light everybody up, Stephanie, because it is about taxes, George does a brilliant job of helping us prepare. Great tips in there. A very special guest. We have two very special guests. Dube Kesler, who was actually a guest on my podcast, is talking about some amazing, a kind of a different way of making money. It's called the money multiplier. It's a very kind of sophisticated strategy, but he'll be walking us through that. If anybody is really interested, go to the everydaymillionaire.ca and you'll see Brett's podcast there. But the reason you're joining me here is because you're going to be walking us through an exercise, a completion exercise, which is kind of an annual thing. You've been doing that for a number of years, but tell us about completion. This is the end of the year.
Completion is a really important process. I find that many people don't quite understand. They'll look for things like closure or ending of something, but not actually connect it to the new beginnings. And that's what this completion exercise does. And you're right. I've been doing this for years and years with Rain, but also for years with skaters. At one point with athletes, they have to be able to close one chapter, one era of their life and step into their what's next. So what I did was modify it over the years for Rain members, for business clients, and for anybody that understands the power of being able to close something fully as much as you can in the moment, because there's always going to be some things that are undone, and then to open up and set your intention for your what's next. And I guess it just makes sense to do it heading into the new year.
But that's a great point. We want to go into the new year optimistic. We want to go in thinking, okay, 2024, going to crush it, going to be my best year ever. But hey, Addie, good to see you show up. So the thing is that when we go into a new year, we want to be excited about it. But we have to be, I think, really intentional, because there's things that happened in 2023 that maybe didn't work out. Maybe there's some relationships that, didn't pan out, some deals that didn't pan out. What are you going to leave behind so that you're not dragging a bunch of what we'll call, I guess, baggage into 2024 so that, okay, I'm done. Something, I'm going to let that go. I'm going to let that relationship go. I'm going to let the resentment go. I'm going to let the win go, because we can't live on top of a win. It's already done. Okay, let it go. Celebrate it. Make sure that you're complete with it. Then don't carry a bunch of extra baggage into 2024. That's the thought process, right?
Exactly. And I think this one, I'm calling it hindsight be 2020. Meaning
hindsight.
Be 2020. Yeah. I mean, they say hindsight is 2020, but no, really, when we think of what happened in 2020, we did one of the very first completion exercises launching into 2020, and that was in December of 2019. And then, of course, the world shut down in 2020. So part of this completion, and I'm not going to give it away, I want you to come and sit in my seminar or sit in the session with us and talk about the things that did go well and the things that maybe didn't go quite so well, and what you're ready to let go of, what you're so done with, what you're bringing forward, what you're grateful for, and who you're grateful for. So we're going to go through the process, and I'm going to help you dig into some of those things that maybe you haven't thought about or looked at. I know many people in my world anyway, have had this blur of the last 3 years, and there's so much to celebrate, hun, and there's so much to let go of. There's so much to bring forward. And I want to take this time to not step over the power of completion this year.
Well, I think that, when we think about completion, when we think about going into 2024, we talk a lot on our podcast on the Everyday Millionaire Mindset Matters. And Stephanie co-hosts with me. Hopefully you're following along on our podcast. But we've actually done some of these, had some of these conversations about completion. How do we move forward into 2024 intentionally, knowing that we're going to be done with something, but we're going to, in fact, move into something new? And that could be just in terms of a shift of how we're going to look at things. So in other words, what is the mindset? What is the attitude What are some practices that we're going to put into place that, we're going to leave that negativity behind. We're going to go into 2024 with a mindset around gratitude, looking at the gains, not just the gap, hence the book, The Gap and the Gain, but really to be intentional about 2024. What is it we're going to do? And as importantly, what are we not going to do? And it's going to be a bit of a pen to paper tomorrow night, or stilo to writing pad, whatever that might be. But the point is we've got an exercise that you're going to work through with the guests and anybody who's in that webinar, and we're going to put you to work.
I think it'll be really great, and having that group and the mindset of people that are all of like mind, that are committed to their lives and doing the best they can and living their best lives. That's what I love about RAIN members, is that people of like mind get together. They know that mindset is an issue. It's a huge contribution to their success. So, some people tease me or whatever and say, why are you coaching mindset? What is this, all this performance coaching thing? Why don't you just go out and do it? Get your head out of your butt kind of thing. And I said, it's not that easy. You go through life and you want to maybe elevate yourself or take your goals to the next level. And going into 2024 with the history of what we've been through, just even in the last 3 years, I think it's really important to slow down, take a look, make sure that you're going into the year intentionally, into the year not dragging a bunch of stuff from the past. And if you are, just knowing that you have the tools, or at least you have the support of the RAIN community and people of like mind that can move that some of those things with you. Move it forward, move it to the side, but really move your life forward on your own pace.
I think it's important to, we shine a light on it often, which is that, it is really a uncertain time, back to, hindsight is, 2020, as in, 2020, and what has changed. And, regardless, you think about 2020 being literally coming up 4 years, yet how much stuff have we dragged forward? And I say we in a general sense, how much stuff has people dragged forward with them over the past 4 years that they couldn't let go for whatever reason? And how do we complete going into 2024 just around that kind of baggage? The thing about it is that in times of uncertainty and confusion, there's a place of, indecision. There's a place of anxiety. And, when you put yourself in the right environment, and get present to what's really happening, then it's, again, intentionally saying, okay, I'm not going to bring this forward with me. I'm going to actually let it go, and I'm going to recreate and redefine what 2024 can mean to you. And when we do the podcast, I often think about, as much as people kind of look at it and go, what's with all this performance coaching? Just tell me how, just tell me what to do. It's not quite like that. So it doesn't go that way. The point of it is that, our podcast, by the way, folks, we're about 100,000 listens a month. So whatever the everyday millionaire and the everyday millionaire mindset matters as much as you got to go, why? Well, listen, it means something to some people. And tomorrow night, you actually will, I believe that we're really honored to have Stephanie join us for a meeting. I'm really well connected that way. I know some people. And so
where I live.
I know where you live. So here we are. We've got an Olympic and world-class mental performance coach joining us to walk us through an exercise. So you're definitely going to want to be there. Any final word? Well, listen, and aside from that, we're going to get into some tactical stuff too. Like I say, George Dube with BDO is going to be there. Brent Kessler is going to be there. JG Francoeur is going to be there. We're going to get all tactical and into the hows and the whats of the world as well. So you're going to make sure you want to attend the meetings this week. And it's, how do we get to the last meetings of the year? Whew,
isn't that crazy?
That was fast. That was really fast. So listen, folks, make sure you're there. Stephanie, any last words of wisdom before prepping for tomorrow night?
Well, looking forward to seeing you there. You did say something there that I found was interesting, is that to be really present. And also from a present standpoint, maybe what you want to consider getting your loved one is buying the think tank in Calgary. Did we announce that, or did I just drop the bomb?
No. Yeah, Think Tank is in Calgary, and
we're going to do a weekend. It's a partnership, or for couples or people who want to be in partnership, but we're going to focus on clarity and velocity, and it's a 2.5 full day,
March
3 day
2nd,
basically.
3rd, 1st, 2nd,
March,
3rd.
1, 2, 3. I thought
1, 2, 3 in Calgary. And you can inquire about that. Just send an email to info@RAIN Canada. This will be our third think tank that we've done. And
they're so great.
epic.
The people
They're
are
awesome.
so great.
Yeah. Really attract a really cool group of people. Small groups, by the way, everybody. Really small group of people that we get together March 1st, 2nd, 3rd for Think Tank, info@RAIN Canada. If you're interested in finding out more about that and hanging out with Stephanie and I, as well as JG Francoeur in Calgary. And Stephanie, thanks for doing this. And for everybody who's watching this, make sure you show up for the meeting tomorrow night. And thanks a lot, Stephanie.
That was fun.